What's up guys, RBG here, bringing you another update on Marvel's Avengers, and yesterday we got an awesome, or should I say spectacular announcement. Spider-Man has officially been confirmed for Marvel's Avengers, and the internet has been going crazy. Some fans are absolutely happy about this news, while others are displeased with the fact that the webhead will be exclusive to the PS4 and 5 version of the game. This is a big deal and we have a lot to go over, so stay tuned. Now before we get started on the video, I gotta give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, TubeBuddy. As a successful YouTube user, I often get questions asking what I use to get my videos tons of views, and the answer to that is TubeBuddy. This thing has helped me take my channel to the next level in ways I never imagined. It's a browser extension that helps new and experienced YouTubers grow fast and optimize their channels. I've been using this extension for years and it's constantly getting updated with new features, like the SEO tool that helps me come up with the perfect title, description, and tags to get more people to click on my videos. It even provides you with analytics beside your videos to see how much traffic your video is generating from various social media sites. The extension is absolutely free, but as a special offer, we're giving a 50% discount for channels that have less than 1,000 subscribers that purchase the Pro upgrade. All you have to do is enter in the code RisingStarBuddy. So if you're interested in starting a YouTube channel or taking your content to the next level, download the extension now. You can do so by clicking on this link that'll be provided in the description of this video. But anyways guys, as I mentioned, our boy Spidey will be appearing in Marvel's Avengers. Yesterday morning, PlayStation took to their official Twitter handle to announce this awesome news, saying, and I quote, "Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man comes to Marvel's Avengers exclusively on the PlayStation. Crystal Dynamics offers early details on its own unique take on the post-launch hero." Just want to point out that this information was revealed a day prior via a UK retailer called Base.com after a PS4 listing for Marvel's Avengers specified that Spider-Man would be an exclusive character on Sony's version of the game. And later that information was removed from the product page after the spokesperson of the company stated that it was nothing more than an error. They mentioned that that particular statement in question had been on the promotion since E3 June 2019, back when Marvel's Avengers was revealed. But this didn't stop fans from conjuring up their own theories on if that was an unofficial reveal or just plain old clickbait. Now I just want to say that while I had my own nagging suspicion on if Spidey would make it into Marvel's Avengers, I wasn't quite sure what to think of this. Like, it all seems like a bit iffy since the details came from this random site I've never heard from. Not to mention that it felt a little too early for Crystal Dynamics to add Spider-Man into this game. I mean, this is a prominent figure in the Marvel landscape as well as the superhero genre that instantly takes a spotlight anytime he's included, and he has his own game that's been doing game bangers and sales. But now that we have him in Marvel's Avengers, it's essentially going to be franchise Viagra to the game. And I think that Sony and Square Enix knew that going in, which is why they most likely revealed this so close to the launch date, because they know that this move is going to sway more people to pick up the game. Anyways, Marvel's Avengers Associate Art Director Jeff Adams took the PlayStation blog to go further into detail on what we could expect from this, saying, and I quote, "Every once in a while, life presents you with a moment where your pursuits and your passions converge. Today is one such moment for me because I get to be the first to announce that our own Crystal Dynamics take on Spider-Man is teaming up with Ms. Marvel, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, and Black Widow of Marvel's Avengers. Watching Spider-Man adapt to new surroundings was such a great contrast to his status quo. That tone is exactly what we want to capture for him in Marvel's Avengers. A familiar, fresh Spider-Man who needs to evolve to take on global threats alongside Earth's mightiest heroes." To make sure this team up goes smoothly, Vince Napoli, our lead combat designer, is hard at work making Spider-Man just as great on the sticks as he is on the page. This means making sure our hero moves and fights like he should, no matter which one of our war zones he finds himself in. When he's arcing through the air on his web line, we want you to feel graceful and light, and be able to utilize a variety of web configurations and gadgets to enhance your traversal. Spider-Man's impressive acrobatic abilities will complement the experience, allowing you to seamlessly transition from navigation to combat. When Spider-Man takes on evildoers, he'll do so fluidly with his signature flair, but also with the enhanced customization options we've created for Marvel's Avengers. Just like our other heroes, you'll get to use the unique skill trees Vince and his team have designed to specialize how your Spider-Man plays in our world. An impressive suite of iconic abilities and attacks will be at your disposal, and you get to decide which gadgets and skills you wish to upgrade. These enhancements will be necessary for him to take on the threats coming his way. And this all sounds amazing, man. Like, something that I was wondering about is how in-depth the developers would go if they ever got their hands on Spidey. Considering the fact that it was going to be a tall order to fully build different functionalities for all the Avengers members to make them unique, I can only imagine how much time and effort it would take to develop Spider-Man's gameplay for this game. There's a lot that goes into making a character such as this one, from the combat to the web swinging that will determine how well he plays compared to other iterations. It's something that Insomniac Games had to absolutely nail before they worked on anything else. And apparently it looks like Crystal Dynamics is going to be using this time to do that and then some. Now, do I expect this version of Spidey's web swinging and combat to be on the same level as Marvel's Spider-Man? Honestly, no. I think his web swinging is going to be a more simplified version that's sort of akin to something like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, where we don't see the webs attaching to buildings. And given the fact that this isn't an open world game, I don't think the devs necessarily need to add that attention to detail. Would it be nice if they did? Yeah, it'd be super cool if they showed Spider-Man's webs attaching to individual surfaces. But I think with everything else that's going on in the game already, such as the insane amounts of chaos you're gonna cause, we don't really need this in-depth system that incorporates flip tricks similar to Marvel Spider-Man. Speaking of Marvel Spider-Man, I want to clarify whether this announcement confirms if Marvel's Avengers exist in the same universe as that said game. There have been a few little details that have led some to believe that these two games will coexist in the Earth 1048, also known as the Gameverse, such as Spider-Man mentioning in his game that the Avengers were out somewhere in the West, and the Avengers indeed being located in the West in their own game. There's also the theory that Peter Parker is off aiding the Avengers in a mission since he's apparently MIA in Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. But Crystal Dynamics and Insomniac insist that these games are both set in their own standalone universes, and I think they're telling the truth. Because if you reread what Jeff Adams' first statement said in the PlayStation blog, he says that Crystal Dynamics is doing their own take on Spider-Man, which further implies that this Spider-Man will be completely different from the one seen in Marvel Spider-Man. This iteration of Spidey will more than likely feature a different appearance compared to that of Insomniac's take as well. Jeff says, and I quote, "It's not enough for Spider-Man to just play like he should, he also needs to look like he should. That's why when going through the process of conceptualizing his suit, we went back to the beginning. Steve Ditko set the standard with his Spider-Man design, and John Romita Sr. evolved it into an icon recognized around the world. Fans can expect to see Ditko and Romita's influence in our take on the hero, with nods to other talented artists that have defined the character's look over his long history. So the costume for Crystal Dynamics version will be more on par with the first suit that was seen in Marvel Spider-Man, which is dope. If anything, I'm hoping it's on the same level of quality, because if we're gonna be honest, the designs in this game have left a lot to be desired. Like, we gotta be real. Like, I think we can all agree that when it comes to cool looking characters, Insomniac has that particular aspect on lock. If you ask me, I think that Crystal Dynamics should really consider linking up with Gavin Golden, who was the art director for Marvel Spider-Man. And in a way, I think that some of Gavin's work will make it into Marvel's Avengers in the form of DLC suits later down the line. Since Sony has an exclusivity deal in place with Square, I wouldn't be surprised if we get the advanced Spidey costume from Spider-Man PS4. It's something I've been saying from the jump, and I got a nagging suspicion that this theory will manifest somewhere down the line. But moving on, I want to go more into detail about the gear customizations for Spider-Man, because this is where the devs are going to go insane. I mean, I hate to keep comparing this game to Marvel Spider-Man, but it's hard not to, especially since they're both two AAA titles. And you kinda have to now that Spidey has officially been confirmed for this game. One thing that was a big deal in Marvel Spider-Man was the different skill trees you had access to, and you had access to like 34 skills in that game. But according to the lead combat designer for Marvel's Avengers, each character will have 49 purchasable skills in their skill tree. If you do the math, that's 15 skills more than Spider-Man had in his own game. And once again, I have to point out how impressive that is, because as I've said earlier, Crystal Dynamics are building 6 unique characters from the ground up. We're talking 294 skills total for the base Avengers team. Like, these characters have enough functionalities to stick out in their own solo game. Jeff says, and I quote, "Partnering with the Avengers gives Spider-Man complete access to the impressive technology available to the team, such as custom web shooter-based technology from Hank Pym, S.H.I.E.L.D., Stark Industries, and more. And by constructing the perfect gear and skills combinations, you'll get to live your superhero dreams through your ideal Spider-Man." And man, I just gotta say that this is gonna be pretty cool seeing how the gear affects Spidey's gameplay. Like, he didn't even mention the other gear components such as the Gamma Infusion that's said to give moves more punch. Anyways, Jeff goes on to say that Spider-Man will be marking his debut with an in-game event that will introduce him to the wider world of Marvel's Avengers. The event is comprised of a series of unique challenges for the hero to take on, testing his abilities and yielding some exciting results. So yeah, this is all exciting news. The webhead is swinging over to Marvel's Avengers, and what seemed like a pipe dream has now become a reality. So some fans are ecstatic about this news. On the other hand, there are some fans, particularly Xbox fans, who are downright pissed about it. As I've mentioned, Spider-Man is arguably the most popular hero in his respective genre, and everyone wants a piece of him, from film execs to gamers. And Sony always tends to shake the nest when it comes to the Spider-Man fandom. Back when Marvel Spider-Man was revealed at E3 2016, Xbox fans were outraged at the fact that he would be exclusive to the PlayStation 4. And I felt like they had every right to be, since we have been waiting for what it seemed like an eternity for a studio to develop a Spidey game that's on the same level of something like Batman Arkham Knight. We see the potential that his games can have if they're done right, so it came as a bit of a shock when we finally got the announcement that this ideal Spidey game would be a console exclusive. Now, I'd like to briefly point out that just because Spider-Man's game is exclusive to the PlayStation does not mean that Sony owns the character. I hate that I had to explain this over and over, but I understand that some of you are new to this channel, so I'll break it down again. Marvel had previously released games based on or tied to the release of films based on their properties, but this meant that game developers didn't have much time to create impressive products. This is why not every Spider-Man game was good back when Activision had the license. So after the deal expired, Marvel decided that it was time to go with a different business strategy. They go to a big name publisher like Sony, and Sony would then hire a team like Insomniac and ask them which Marvel property they want to work on. And we know that that property would ultimately turn out to be Spider-Man. This is the same strategy that has been done with Nintendo when it came to them choosing Ultimate Alliance, and it's the same with Square Enix and the Avengers. So if you were thinking that Sony has exclusive rights to Spider-Man and outright own the character, no, they don't. They just have an exclusive contract in place to do Spider-Man games. The character can still appear in other games like Ultimate Alliance 3 because Marvel still holds the gaming rights to him. And I say all of that to say this because we've already confirmed that this version of Spider-Man isn't the same as Sony and Insomniac's version. And if that's the case, then that means that Sony actually paid Square Enix extra money to have the character be exclusively available on the PlayStation versions of the game. If you remember during Square Enix's E3 2019 press conference, they mentioned that they had a special deal in place with Sony. And I think it's safe to assume that Spider-Man being exclusive to the PlayStation version of Marvel's Avengers was a part of that deal. And Xbox and gaming fans in general have been venting how this deal is anti-consumer and ostracized the player base, and to some extent I agree. Given that this version of Spider-Man isn't necessarily tied to Insomniacs, I don't really agree with Sony marking their exclusive stamp on the character. If it's a timed exclusive, then I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but if it turns out that this is a flat out exclusive deal, then I gotta say that it's a bit unfair. On the other hand, I have to say that we gotta give that same energy to Microsoft, because they actually wield a lot of power to make similar decisions such as this. And if they really wanted to, they could have gotten exclusive rights to Spider-Man on the Xbox and Windows versions of Marvel's Avengers. So while I think this is a sneaky move on Sony's part, I can't be mad at them for thinking of this strategy. Money talks and they realize how marketable of a character Spider-Man is. But anyways, what are your thoughts on this news? Are you hyped that Spidey is confirmed for Marvel's Avengers? Or do you think Sony is greedy for sealing that exclusive deal? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I ask you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. Any feedback is good feedback and will only help me improve on future videos. But if you really enjoyed the video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it with all your friends and followers on social media. Sharing really makes a difference. But once again, this is your boy RBG signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.